The September 9th, 2025 regular meeting of the Everett Public Schools Board of Directors is hereby called to order. We will begin with the land acknowledgement with Student Representative Covarrubias.
We acknowledge the original inhabitants of this area, the Snohomish people and their successors, the Tulalip tribes. Since time immemorial, they have hunted, fished, gathered on, and taken care of these lands and waters. We respect their sovereignty, their right to self-determination, and honor their sacred spiritual connection with the land and waters. In Everett Public Schools, we strive to create equitable outcomes and build a culture of inclusive belonging for all students, teachers, staff, and community.
Thank you. Please stand if you are willing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Sorry, my computer will not come up. Okay, will the secretary please call the roll?
President Mitchell.
Present.
Vice President Herman.
Present.
Director Revelinsky.
Present.
Director Atkins. Director Lawrence.
Present.
Student Representative Covarrubias. Student Representative Dewing.
Present.
Thank you. Dr. Saltzman, were there any changes to the agenda after it was published?
No, Madam Chair, there have been no changes to the agenda.
Great. Is there any objection to the meeting agenda being adopted by general consent? Seeing none, the agenda is adopted by general consent. That takes us to recognitions, and very sadly, there are none today. Is that correct? Correct. Okay. And then next is the superintendent's report. Dr. Saltzman.
Thank you, Madam Chair, to the public this evening and to the Board of Directors. Thank you for this opportunity. First of all, I'd like to give a big thank you to our students, families, and staff for an amazing opening day. Awesome, awesome opening day. From our bus drivers, to our teachers, to our office staff, to the administrators, and every member of our school community, each of you helped create a welcoming and joyful first day of school. And it was really a joyful first day of school. It was just great seeing the students' faces. Thank you for the part you played in making such a success. Our schools were filled with such excitement, and I hope our parents and community felt the same way on opening day as you dropped off your students. I'm so proud of how our entire community came together to start the year quite strong. And here's some good information too, as well as you start the school year. Families will now have access to their students' spring 2025 Smart Balance Assessment, or known as SBAs. At public education, we have many acronyms, so it's Smart Balance Assessments, and that will be online as well. The information is available on Parent View for students who are in grades 3 through 8 and grades 10 last year. So that'll be on our Parent View for our community and parents to access. These assessments will provide information on student progress in reading, writing, and mathematics. We use the results to help guide instruction, track student growth, and identify where extra support may be needed for our youngsters. Tomorrow, our state superintendent, Chris Rydell, will share the statewide 2025 assessment data mid-afternoon. So we're excited for that, and again, we're proud of our students, our teachers, our parents, our entire community as our students continue to excel. Here's some exciting news that's coming to our district. I want everybody to know that Cascade High School is a candidate school for the International Baccalaureate Diploma Program. Cascade will be working towards authorization as an IB World School. This program will give students in our district a different way to engage in rigorous coursework, develop critical thinking skills, and prepare for success in a global society. Everett Public Schools is committed to expanding the academic options for our students. We look forward to the next steps with the IB Diploma Program. If you would like to learn more about this program, there'll be an informational meeting on October 23rd, and it will take place at Cascade High School from 6 to 7 p.m. The IB program will not start right now or next year, but we're going to build it up in the next 24 months. So please come to that meeting that will be held at Cascade High School. So that includes my report this evening to our public. Again, thank you for a great opening.
Thank you. And that takes us to board comments, and I'll begin with Director Herman.
Thank you. I have a few things tonight. I would like to start with our student representatives. Welcome back to Student Representative Covarrubias, and a warm welcome to Student Representative Dewing. As student representatives, you provide insight and perspective to the school board, and so hopefully it keeps those communication lines open. I look forward to serving with you both this year and appreciate you taking time out of your busy high school schedules to do this role. Your input improves our work as a school board, so thank you for being here. So since last meeting, I wanted to also talk about one of the things I love about the summer reading challenge. I'm a big fan of public libraries and feel that they are a great partner for us in education. We'll be hearing an update tonight about summer learning later in the meeting. And related to that, I stopped by our local Snow Isle Library and spoke with the children's librarian there, Heather Orson. She shared with me that as of last weekend, there were 1,478 students from the Everett School District who completed the summer reading this summer, and earned a free book. So that was pretty amazing. I love how our students keep learning over the summer and those partnerships that our schools have with public libraries. If you are like me and love libraries, remember that while the Everett Public Library is not a part of the Snow Isle system, all of our Everett Public School students can check out books there, whether they live in Everett or not. So a great partnership there. And absolutely on the first day of school, what a great day. This is my 17th and last first day of school as an Everett School District parent. I was able to volunteer in the parking lot at Mill Creek Elementary to help with morning drop-off, and it was such a great start to the year. It truly was. I want to give a shout out to all the staff for helping our students get back into school routines and helping families get adjusted, and acknowledging that there was extra work involved this summer in moving the start date up a week. Well done. It showed off that once again it was a great start, and appreciate you all. And then lastly, the summer board retreat since our last school board meeting. That was a great 2 days of focusing on our work as a school board. The highlight for me is always the student panel. And the topic for us this year was career and technical education experiential learning. So a thank you to Anthony Anderson for arranging that for us. I also appreciated members of the Bond Planning Committee for coming and talking to us about their experience on the committee last spring and their recommendation for a 2026 bond election. Looking forward to that resolution September 30th. It was a really well-spent 2 days of retreat. So thanks to the board of directors and the staff for taking part of that. Well done.
Director Oberlinski.
You took everything? Okay. I thank you. I agree. I enjoyed everything also. I'll keep it short. I had the opportunity to volunteer at Emerson for the first day of kindergarten. I had seen that as a parent, and you just kind of outside looking in, you don't see much, but to be there and to be a part of it, it is simply incredible, the orchestra that our educators and administrators and everybody in the school is doing every single day, Also, this year, my kids have the same bus driver. So they come for Cascade and they pick up, my Cascade kids, and then she comes a little later to pick up my Monroe daughter. It's happening everywhere. This just incredible operational, I don't know how else to put it, but orchestra. It's an incredible feat. I'm also really excited to hear about the International Baccalaureate program at Cascade. I think I'm just so grateful. Thank you for doing that. I think Cascade is the perfect school for it. I'm super duper jazzed. I think that's it. Yeah.
Dr. Lawrence.
On September 2nd, I got to visit Whittier Elementary School. for the first day of kindergarten. And I was so impressed by the students. They were really, they were all smiles, eager to start school. They knew exactly where to go. And I really think that the Everett Ready program, a 4-day program for incoming kindergartners, really helped them because they got to know ahead of time the staff, their peers, the routine, what they needed to do, and they were ready and so excited. It was also a good opportunity for parents to be part of that Everett Ready program as well. So it was fun. It was a great way to start my week.
Great. Student Representative Covarrubias.
So this year, as a senior perspective, this has gone by so quickly. And it feels like I didn't even have a summer. It feels like it was a 2-week break. And what really contributed to all the socializing that has been going on at school was the new phone policy. Having away our phones the entire class makes all the learning so much quicker and so much more like a better experience for all our students. And also our new locks, or our new classroom locks, has also been very comforting. It gives us that sense of security for not only students, but I think for teachers with all the violence that has been going on. So whoever was in charge of that, thank you.
Representative Dewing.
I totally second what you said about the cell phone policy at Cascade High School too. And there's some kids that are still kind of settling into like the new week earlier start time, but I think I really appreciated it. It felt really smooth with the 3-day week and then the 4-day week before kind of diving into things. Yeah, it's been really nice, easy start for Cascade.
I just want to welcome you, as others have, and I too am pleased the school year started off well. And just to comment on our retreat, I do appreciate the student panel. I sat next to one student who shared with me that he had really struggled with school and had tried to drop out a couple of times as an elementary school student. I learned that they had actually been unhoused during part of this time. And they told me when they landed at Everett High and found the health services program, which is one of our choice programs, they found their fit. And the 4 years that they've been there, the student is now looking at going to school for college for nursing and maybe has a goal of working for the CDC and advancing science. So from being a child who didn't like school to now wanting to become a nurse, I just am so thankful for this district and all that we do here. I also enjoyed helping parents and students at the first day school at Emerson, and that greeting them at the door and sort of telling where to go. And I really had no appreciation of the amount of medications students have and parents dropping off medications. I really had no idea, so it's a different appreciation. And then our favorite part of the start of the year is my husband and I enjoyed seeing the Everett play Jackson in their very first football game, and so go Everett. It was a tight game, and so that was really well done. Next, I would like to share for the community that we did at our summer board workshop on August 21st. We had, as a board, had the opportunity to discuss openly during an unstructured time in a public meeting a parent's rights to release their child for religious instruction during the school day. I can tell you that we as a board do not support or endorse programs that provide off-campus religious instruction during the school day and prefer that students stay at school. Parents, though, do have the right to ask the district to release their child from school for religious or non-religious purposes and into the care of a named adult if they themselves are not picking that child up. The district does not have any other organizations, the district does not give permission to any organization to release, for the students to be released to. It must be a parent or guardian who makes that decision into the hands of another parent or guardian or designated adult, either in a written note or an email at each of those occurrences. And I believe it's important for the public to know that no organization operates religious activities within our schools during school hours, and the district does not allow or give permission to any religious organization to take students off-site. Rather, parents choose to seek the release of their students to an adult who then takes them off-site for that program. Only what we are allowing is during lunch and recess. So that is just what we had a really robust conversation at that retreat, and just wanted to share that information with everyone. So thank you. Now it's time for public comment. Dr. Saltzman, I believe we do have a couple comments tonight, is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, so we did receive a request for written comment to be read, but per our policy, because it would be my voice and not the person's voice, they will receive a written response from us, and their comment is available. And then do we still have an online speaker? 5 online
Yes.
speakers. Okay, then we do have several people. Okay, so I will start with our person who's live here, and then I will move to the people that are online. So the board sets aside 15 minutes during regular meetings to hear from our constituents. We do this because we value public input and want to hear and understand the perspectives you bring to the table. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to speak. As board president, I have the responsibility to ensure that our board meetings, we conduct business in public. We do this in an orderly, productive, and respectful manner. We welcome ideas and opinions presented in that same manner, and we thank you for helping me with this responsibility. The entire board welcomes you to this public meeting. It is important that our people online and here understand how this happens. So each person will be brought to the podium in the order in which they signed up, and just because the person is here, then we'll do the Zoom in the order in which everybody signed up. And the Zoom, you'll be brought forward at the time it is your turn to speak. All comments are recorded, so the board will have access to everything that's said tonight, and repetition really isn't necessary as it cuts into other people's time to speak. The public comment part of the agenda is for the board to listen to what you have to say. It is not for debate or discussion. Board members do not respond to individual comments. And so we will begin with Deanna Hansen about the LifeWise Academy. Yeah, can you please come forwards? And you will see 3 lights show up there on the top of the dais on your right-hand side. And it will be, the first one will be green, that gives you your 3 minutes. Then you'll get a red, yellow, that gives you 30 seconds. And it's all the way up to the top, those 3 little knobbies there. And when you see the green, you may start talking. And you are a resident of the district, and you may begin.
Correct. Good evening, school board members. My name is Deanna Hansen. I was a public school teacher for several years, and today I own and operate a clinic in Everett. With multiple degrees and in different fields, I offer a unique perspective on the proposal to bring LifeWise Academy into our schools. As a child, I was a part of a similar pull-out program for religious instruction. What it taught me was not unity, but division. How to label others as different rather than build bridges across our differences. That's why I urge you to reconsider allowing this academy to use school hours for their program. First, a small group of parents should not be able to implement programs that affect an entire district. Religious instruction can happen before or after school without pulling children from valuable classroom time. Second, LifeWise Academy represents a narrow, Orthodox Christian perspective. From my own childhood experience, these settings often created harm for those who didn't fit in. Sadly, there is also a widespread underreporting of abuse in church institutions, and taking children off campus increases those risks. Finally, as a former teacher and community business owner, I deeply value education that encourages kindness, compassion, and integrity. These values can be and should be taught in our classrooms without religious indoctrination. Some may argue that this program is voluntary, but when it takes place during school hours, it pressures children to conform and divides them from peers who believe differently. Please let's invest in our children's future by keeping public education a place of unity, safety, and inclusivity. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so now we have 5 people online. Jared, would you please bring forward Rabbi Rachel Court, who works for a business in the district and requests to speak about the LifeWise Academy. Hello, Rabbi. You have 3 minutes to speak, and I'm just putting a timer on my phone because I don't know if you get lights or not, so you may begin now. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you. My name is Rabbi Rachel Court. I am the spiritual leader of Temple Beth Or, located in Everett. We're a Reformed Jewish congregation, and 4 children who are my community members are students at Emerson Elementary School, and we have many other congregant families who have students in the Everett School District. And Tracy, I want to thank you for the update on LifeWise, and want to thank the entire school board for your support in doing everything you can to limit LifeWise access to our Everett schools. LifeWise Academy pullout is a disruption for community building for all students at Emerson Elementary School. Our Jewish community has particular sensitivity to opt-in Christian education taking place during school hours, albeit not on the school campus. We fear that this program could create in-groups and out-groups with the student body, leaving non-Christian students feeling left out. We fear that this group will promote proselytization in the school setting, creating difficult and uncomfortable and unnecessary situations for our Jewish students in our public school classrooms. The separation of church and state is critical for the protection of our Jewish community. The separation protects us as a religious minority by preventing the government from establishing a national religion or favoring one faith over others. We need your help as a school board to better fortify the separation between church and state and exercise all ability that you have to deny LifeWise the ability to take our students off campus during the school day. Again, thank you for your time and thank you for your support.
Thank you so much. And we will now bring, oh, I lost a piece of paper. Okay, sorry, could you please bring forward, thank you, Shola Boladuro, a resident of the district who also would like to speak about LifeWise. They are not online, thank you. How about Eric Osowski, a parent in the district who requests to speak about LifeWise? Okay, Eric, before we begin, how badly did I mutilate your name?
Not bad at all. It's okay. It's Osowski.
Okay, so yes, so you have 3 minutes. You may begin.
All right. First, I want to say thank you to everybody on the board. And I'm also here, and I won't waste anybody's time re-going over the same thing about LifeWise. I've always been really happy with the Everett School District, how they've treated all of our kids fairly, and it seems like that is what was passed down. And after hearing about LifeWise, I was just concerned that it was going to go down to their beliefs and some of their questions and guidelines, and that just doesn't promote a non-judgment type of atmosphere. And it sounds like the school board has already taken that into consideration. And again, I just really appreciate everything that you guys are doing for that. And I'm I'm happy, Tracy, that you guys had that long conversation. It sounds like you're not going to be allowing it during school hours and you're going to be limiting it to that. So again, I won't waste people's time. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And it is, again, it is at recess and lunch, which is, we want them there all day, but it is recess and lunch. So just to be clear. So thank you. And last, we have Carol Reed. If they're there, is a resident of the district and has requested to speak also about LifeWise. Not online, okay. For the people that are not online, you feel free to write in and, oh, and there's one more if I flip it over. Thank you. I appreciate the assistance here. Is Lindsay Rohani online? Yes, okay. Is a parent of the district and is requested to speak to us tonight.
There.
Yeah, hi. I'm just going to set up my timer really quick because I don't know what you can see and my phone is not behaving. So just a minute.
Sure.
There we go. Okay.
Okay, so pardon the noise in the background. I've got the kiddos home, but I just wanted to say thank you for allowing me to speak. As someone that was raised in the Everett Public School District, as a parent, a member of this community, and a volunteer at the schools, I just wanted to share my concerns about LifeWise involvement in our schools. To be clear, I'm someone who is personally committed to my own religious community, and I deeply respect the role that faith plays in many people's lives. However, I firmly believe that public schools should remain a neutral space where no particular religious group has special access during the school day. If LifeWise or any other religious organization wishes to offer instruction, I feel like they're welcome to do so after school hours, just like any other extracurricular activity. This approach ensures that we respect everyone's beliefs while keeping our students inclusive, our schools inclusive and focused on education. I'm also deeply concerned about the safety aspect. In a time when school security is more critical than ever, allowing students to leave and re-enter campus for off-site religious instruction complicates our efforts to keep them safe and adds unnecessary risk. I think we also have to consider the precedent that this sets. If we open the door to one group, we may find ourselves facing numerous similar requests, which could distract from the educational mission of our schools. So I would urge the board to maintain a clear boundary. Let's keep our public schools a place where all students feel welcome, safe, and free from any kind of religious or ideological pressure during school hours. I understand that the board's position that it's the parent or guardian removing the child from school and it's not an outside organization. But LifeWise is actively partnering with families to remove students during instructional hours for their own programming, and that creates the same outcome. I know it's during lunch and recess, but I would be interested to see if it cuts into any instructional time or if it causes any unnecessary burden on the office staff. Whether it's the organization or the individual initiating it, the effect is that a religious group gains privileged access to students during the school day. That access isn't equally available to every belief system or worldview, and it risks making some students feel excluded or pressured. So I would encourage the board to consider just not the technical legality of this, but the spirit of what it means to foster a truly inclusive, safe, and secular public school environment. And I appreciate your comment from before and the robust discussion that you had.
Thank you. And thank you so much. It was a lovely time to really be able to talk about this. And I appreciate the questions. I did hear a lot more questions tonight, and definitely everybody will be getting some response. And so hopefully we can answer some of those questions and some of those fears during this time. So thank you so much. And that takes us to section, making sure no alarms go off, sorry. Legislative updates, are there any right now? Nope. And now that takes us to the consent agenda. Dr. Saltzman, have there been any questions received? Yes, about the consent agenda. Have there been any questions about the consent agenda?
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the case of this consent agenda, the superintendent's office received no questions regarding the consent agenda.
Thank you. First, does any director wish to remove an item from the consent agenda and place it into the new business section of the agenda? Seeing none, is there any objection to adopting the consent agenda by general consent? Okay, seeing none, the consent agenda is approved by general consent. That takes us to strategic progress monitoring. And there's none for this meeting, which takes us to information discussion, which is the summer learning update, and Dr. Willard.
Good evening, Board President Mitchell, Board of Directors, student representatives, and Dr. Saltzman. I'm really excited to be here this evening to talk about what a very busy and exciting summer of learning we had. Lots to report on. So this evening, I'll be able to share with you our summer learning program, Everett Ready, which is really leading into the start of the school year here, many summer academy programs, and then also our summer graduation. So with that, we always plan year-round for summer because it seems like it's always around the corner, just like we plan for the start of school. So we launched this summer by starting in the spring and sharing with schools that we have a summer learning program. The program is really focused on making sure there's activities around learning reading, writing, math, and science during the summer. We have weekly activities posted. And then maybe most important to this is something that was highlighted in the comments, is that we're really tying students to reading and consistently reading over the summer. So we launched during the spring and had a video kickoff with using a book called When Charlie McButton Lost Power, with this theme of leveling up, right? What can we learn and be ready for in the fall? So a great reading from our superintendent available to all of our students. And then our librarians shared with students and their families the ways that they could access online the weekly lessons that would be posted, and then also made all those great connections with our two major library systems here. So Everett Public Library and Snow Isle Library, so that students could connect with those libraries, check out books, and it sounds like they have some great data to share back. So that'll be exciting too. So our schools are about to collect data from their summer participation at each school, and then they'll put on celebrations with schools that will involve pencils and bookmarks, students sometimes selecting books for the libraries. A few of the schools will invite outside authors to come in and read books or talk about what it's like to write books. So great ways that continue past summer to celebrate the learning that took place this summer. School starts in the summer, and Everett Ready is a really good example of that. So kindergarten starts with Everett Ready. So just a few mere weeks ago, we launched with our kindergartners with the Everett Ready program, where most of our students attend and get their first 4 days, half days of school at their schools. And if you were there for kindergartners to arrive, or even if you can imagine, many of our students really knew what to do because of Everett Ready. And our families did as well. They knew the routines, they knew where to drop off students, they knew their teacher and their classrooms. Lots of big organized piles of tissues and papers were all being sent in, ready to go. So each of our schools, each of our elementary schools puts on Everett Ready. It's a connection moment, making sure that the systems are in place, that our kids know what it is to be a student in school, that our families do as well. And they also host a family engagement session that week, so they get to know the families and make it really real for them and invite them into our schools. One of the great pilots every year, we always evolve and add something special. Special Services piloted a modified program at Lowell Elementary School, right up here, so that we had additional life skills programming for our new kindergartners. So every year, something a little additional that makes Everett Ready even more like our regular school year. This year, we had an opportunity, some funding was available through categorical funds, and we were able to launch a Springboard Collaborative elementary summer school program. And this was a program that we had at Madison Elementary School and Silver Lake Elementary School. At Madison, we actually hosted Jackson, Lowell, and Madison students. And at Silver Lake, we had Emerson and Silver Lake students. And at each of those locations, students were engaged in a 5-week program that really engaged students in reading, and more reading. There were so many books that were part of this program. Teachers reading books, students engaged in books of different levels, but I thought one of the greatest parts of this program is really the connection with families. There were family workshops 4 of the 5 weeks of the program where families learned about how, with the books that we sent home, and there were quite a few books at that, how to use those books at home. How can you be engaged in learning and reading at home, even if you don't think you're a teacher, because our families are our students' first teachers. So we gave them some skills and really built a community. It was a really robust program. And we walked away with a lot of students really thinking about themselves differently leading into the next year. So this was for students in kindergarten through 2nd grade. We also had 3 different schools that hosted school-specific programs, and they ranged. They were jumpstart programs or booster programs. So Hawthorne, Jefferson, and View Ridge hosted their own programs organized at the school sites, largely around reading, writing, math, and science. They were all slightly different in terms of their take on that, so greatly varied. And what we saw is that, again, students were engaged in learning, maintaining their skills during the summer, and being ready, because one of them was only a week long, being ready for school to start again. We also had a new opportunity with Imagine Children's Museum. They hosted a summer program for about 50 students where we saw students from Hawthorne, Lowell, and Whittier participate. That was really interesting. There were 2 cohorts that participated over 4 weeks, and students were really engaged in hands-on learning at the museum. They did some pretty cool stuff. Let me just share with you. There were some things like they sewed pillows and stuffies. We all love stuffies. Who doesn't love a good stuffy? Pizza box pinball machines. I thought that was pretty fun. 3D printed keychains and alarm safekeeping boxes. So kids built, learn, science, reading, putting it all together. And so this was the first year that the museums actually had this program. They're looking forward to additional years, and they worked with us to make sure that we identified schools that they felt like they could really were close to the museum and would really benefit from the program. We also had special services elementary programs. So 37 of our students participated at View Ridge Elementary School for the 3 weeks of July 7th through 25th. And this was our extended school year program for our youngest students. And this is really to maintain their skills and to prevent any of the loss that could happen during the summer when they're not engaged in school. So IEP teams make the decision as to whether students should participate in the program. Let's move up the grade levels. So Middle School Summer Academy, we had nearly the same number as we did last year, about 143 students in grades 6 through 8. This was hosted at Eisenhower Middle School for 3 weeks. And this is also the site where we hosted our entire high school program. So Eisenhower is a bustling place during the summer. I very much welcome you to join us. It is a very full site, lots of learning, lots of activities. You see everything from recess to students driving their cars and leaving midday because they're done with their classes. You've got the whole age range going on there. So we host a math and English language arts summer academy that's really focused on students maintaining their skills. So in the ELA group, they were doing novel studies, focused on theme, character analysis. And in math, you saw really focus on fractions, variables, real world problems, and then multi-step problem solving. So students spent a lot of time engaged in collaboration, working together. Our Bridge to Accelerated Math Academy is for students who are in grades 6 and 7 and want to work their way up into higher level math. So students that were in grade 6 were looking to be in our accelerated 8th grade math program. So they were basically in a booster or jumpstart program during the summer, so they were ready to take that on. And then for our 7th grade students, if they hadn't quite been in that 8th grade class already, they would be ready to be in algebra in 8th grade. So we're giving opportunities for students to join different pathways, even in middle school, and certainly high school, there's lots more options for that. We had a multilingual learner program, and then just like we do at elementary school, we had a middle school extended school year program. And then our really large high school summer academy program. So this has lots of nuggets. One of the great things that I love to be part of is our credit recovery, students making up credits, making sure that they're on track for graduation. We support students if they're in their final steps towards graduation, a lot of hands-on work with them. We have online programming for credit advancement, so classes that students want to take so they can basically lighten up their schedule during the year to take more electives and more things that they're interested in during the school year. We see we have a multilingual learner program, an extended school year services program. We have an Everett Career Link, which are those internships, mentorships, the exploratory piece that happens during the summer, and then Empower You, which is really for students to focus on goal setting and to make sure that it aligns with what they're learning in class, so that they have support with some social emotional learning as well. So some highlights that aren't on this slide are that we had 1,045 half credits earned over the summer. So many students earn multiple credits. We had a record number of students who participated in our Everett Career Link. So out of the students of the 538 listed there, 131 of them were participating in that program. So we had a lot of growth and a lot of exciting pieces to the summer. And then the highlight of the summer also for me, because I love summer, it seems like I'm very much busy and lots of kids there, all focused on learning, is that we have summer graduation during the summer. So we have students who maybe didn't meet the June graduation, but we also have students in our re-engagement programs that have an opportunity to be celebrated at the summer graduation. So it was on August 14th. We had 28 students that participated. They came from Cascade High School, Everett High School, and then our Everett Re-Engagement Academy, which is our online re-engagement program. So we did have a few students that even finished after that graduation date, and they're part of our on-time graduation data as well. So thank you for letting me share all of these great features from this summer.
Yeah, thank you so much. Are there any questions? Director Herman.
Great presentation as always, and
Thank you.
I'm especially impressed of the something for all of our ages, all of our grades, and with different purpose there. I would be curious, and not for this meeting per se, but I will be curious when planning for next summer happens, which ones we can continue to do, and which ones maybe, if by a stroke of Jesus we had more funds, which one was the demand that we had to cut it off because we just didn't have? There's a lot of constraints over the summer, it being a little shorter, and facilities and funding. But I'd be curious which ones you feel are the biggest bang for the buck, because we talked before about versus extended day during the school. So, but I just want to say, keep up the good work. This is fantastic.
Thank you. And thank you for those questions as well.
Any other questions or comments? Well, I just want to say that all those people that think that the school year is just, September to May, you just blew that out of the water. And that the learning.
Year round.
Yeah. And talking to a friend who, with his son this year, they also made it the summer of reading. And I made it the summer of reading, that I'm exceeding my goal for the year because of all the reading I did this summer. So a model.
We'll put you in our data.
A bunch of us read up
I love
here,
it.
so.
You'll boost our numbers.
Yeah. But thank you so much.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you.
And that takes us to unfinished business. There is none for this meeting, which takes us to new business, which is a policy student discipline proposed revision, first reading and adoption tonight. Mr. Fleckenstein.
Well, good evening, and it's my pleasure to present to the board this evening Policy 3300, Student Discipline. This particular revisions to this policy are a result of permanent rulemaking changes by OSPI regarding student discipline. The model policy for this was not produced to school districts from WASDA until August 26th. So tonight, we are going to ask the board to adopt this policy upon first reading in the best interests of our students and the district. Primarily, the revisions to this policy at a high level clarify terminology, particularly around discretionary discipline and corrective actions and other forms of discipline. And most of the revisions that you see in its practical implementation is within the procedure. The policy 3300 student discipline has been previously reviewed by this senior superintendent, senior staff, and legal counsel prior to tonight's meeting.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments for our students, especially student doing? Even these policies, when we have new information, you guys, sometimes I remember, have an advisory vote, so that if you want to let us know how you feel about something. So I think having a student discipline policy might be a good time for, how do you guys feel about it? Do you think we should adopt it or not?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
Thank you so much for that, because it does impact you. So thank you. Is there any other discussion? Yes.
On page 3,
Oh, yes.
there's a new paragraph that talks about the district must use disaggregated data collected and monitor the impact of the district's policy and practices and update its policy to improve fairness and equity. And just, I guess, based on that paragraph, I'm curious if the information that we get or how the board consumes discipline data will change.
No, specifically RCW 28A300-042, which is there. If you click that link, it actually outlines the collection, disaggregation, and reporting requirements by the state of Washington for every school district. So that data that we collect annually and is reported by schools is what's readily available for staff to use with staff to improve our practices, to address any sort of imbalances or disproportionality that we see in our discipline data. And then that is the work that we do with our school administrators each and every year, typically in August through the fall.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So, do you have a question? Oh, okay, yeah, sorry. Yeah.
I was just, as you had mentioned, a lot of this is in the procedure, and as far as sort of the details of it all. And it reminded me that we do have the Discipline Appeal Council, where students and parents can appeal any disciplinary action if it makes it there. And am I right that for the last 3 years, we actually have not used that council? There haven't been any cases where that council has been. Is that correct?
Not to my knowledge. Director Woods oversees that council now, but I'm looking at her and.
Yeah, I believe it's been several years
so,
now. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Typically, we are able to resolve disciplinary infractions with families at the school level.
Yeah. So first wrong place. Is there any objection to adopting this item for first reading and adoption due to the urgency by general consent? And I appreciate the advisory vote. Seeing none, this item is approved for adoption by general consent.
Thank you.
Thank you. That takes us to section 16.0, upcoming agenda items. Dr. Saltzman, what do we have planned?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, Board of Directors, and to the public this evening. At the September 30th regular meeting, the board agenda will contain the following: start of school update, unlimited general obligation bond, capital bond proposition and resolution, impressed accounts, cancel warrants, PSTAA interlocal agreement, Everett Public Schools Foundation limited use permit, PTSA limited use permit, and the Lively Caretaker tenant lease agreement. Thank you, Madam Chair, Board of Directors, and the public.
Well, thank you. That takes us to an executive or closed session. Tonight, the board will hold an executive session to consider the selection of site or the acquisition of real estate by lease or purchase. At this time, the regular meeting is in recess for approximately 5 minutes to reconvene an executive session in the Silver Lake Room for approximately 5 minutes. No action will be taken during an executive session, and no action is planned following the executive session tonight. So we are at recess.
that's fueled by love elation. You know that flight's over soon and hit the ground with fear and frustration.
I would like to reconvene the regular meeting, which takes us to item number 18.01, adjournment. The September 9th regular meeting of the Everett Public Schools Board of Directors is hereby adjourned.